Can I ask you, did your national security advisor on January 28th in the Oval Office warn you that this would be the greatest national security risk of your administration?
No,
he didn't say it, or you don't remember?
I read it someplace. Maybe Woodward said it or something. But no, he did not say that. But I knew it was a big threat.
Watching tonight, like everybody else, I thought to myself, I know that Woodward guy. In fact, we're having him on tonight. And indeed, Bob Woodward is here with us tonight, and he has brought along what we are able to play for you. This is the first time this particular clip has aired, and it gives us a glimpse into Trump's reelection strategy.
I have a very flexible strategy, Bob. I've had it for a long time. My whole life has been flexible strategy, and I've done very well. And I had it in the last campaign, too. I was very flexible. I changed campaign managers 3 times.
I know. Is it offense now, or is it government?
No, I view it as starting now. Look.
You understand why I'm asking?
I won the last campaign in the last 4 weeks, but I would really say I won it in the last week. I did rallies.
With us tonight, the celebrated author and journalist Bob Woodward, officially associate editor over at the Washington Post. He has followed up on his initial book on this White House called Fear with the new work appropriately titled Rage. Bob, it is great to have you, and you and I both know a slew of D.C. and New York-based journalists who wouldn't know America if they stumbled on it and never saw enough Trump yard signs in 2016 to realize what was happening. And some of the reporters on the road were calling newsrooms like ours saying something's happening out here. And we saw what happened in 2016. 2020 couldn't be more different. He has apparently told his handlers, get me on the road every day. We can win this. Do you think he recognizes the difference?
Yes, but there's some similarity, and the reason I think what he said there about his strategy, and I was pressing him on the question, what are you doing? What's your theory of the case of running for re-election? And he said very plainly he won the election in 2016. He won it in 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks. Actually, he said, I won it in the last week. And if you look at what happened in the last week of the 2016 campaign, he did 24 rallies. And the rallies, I'm not sure what the substance is to the voters, but I've never been to any of his rallies, but I've watched many of them. And there is a self-confidence, there is an energy, there is a sense of movement, and he, of course, declares, I'm with you, the average person. And so he's falling back in 2020 on that playbook, and you see he's going to be out giving endless rallies. There is a rally mania. Now, you're right, 2020 is very different. The question is, and you raise a very important issue, what did we see, what did we know in 2016, what do we see now, and what do we know? And he still is doing that. He sounds good. He will not, as we know, tell the truth many times, and almost in a very serial intuitive way. If it looks like he's in a pinch, he'll say something that is untrue. But him going back to that playbook, and when you compare it with the Biden campaign, which looks very kind of comparatively slow. There is Biden in his mask. Rightly, Trump should be in his mask also, but Trump is going to exploit that. And whether it works or not, I'm agnostic. I don't know. I think it's unlikely Trump will win, but it's quite possible he will. And that strategy, it makes an emotional appeal to not just his base, but I suspect to lots of people. What do you think?
Oh, I'm like you. I'm not entitled to an opinion.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.